Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Sheikh Abubakar Gumi, proposed possible solutions to security challenges in Nigeria. Demonstrators in Myanmar hold protests demanding restoration of Aung San Suu Kyi government. In business, upturn in price of international oil benchmark Brent crude pushed Nigeria's oil revenue above estimate in 2021 budget. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Margaret Opara. Now we begin the news with the Easter goodwill message from the Vice President. Professor Yemi Osinbajo has encouraged Nigerians to have great hope that things will get better for the country amid the insecurity and other challenges in the country. He gave the words of encouragement during a brief chat with journalists after he attended the Easter Sunday service held at the Aso Villa Chapel in Abuja, the nation's capital. While wishing Nigerians a happy Easter celebration, Professor Osinbajo believes the message on Easter is centered on the special and exceeding love and grace of God. And still on Easter celebration, former Senate President Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki has congratulated Christians across the world, particularly the ones in Nigeria, on this year's Easter celebration, which symbolized the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and also urged them to embrace the spirit of sacrifice for the survival and development of the country. Saraki, in a statement from his media office in Abuja, noted that Easter represents the sacrifice Jesus made for the benefit of mankind, stressing that those who believe and follow his teachings must also accept the need to play positive roles in making the country and world they live in safer, united, and developed. He noted that while Nigeria is being confronted by various challenges, economic, security, social, health, and political, the decision of her citizens to display the virtues and values represented by Jesus Christ will help in quickly reversing the negative trend and put the country on a path of genuine development. He said, and I quote, "I appeal to all Nigerians to adopt a spirit of sacrifice born out of love for each other and our dear country. I firmly believe that adopting such a spirit will help us overcome the many negative developments that threaten to break the bonds of our nation, reunite us and help us grow together as a nation." End of quote. And as Christians celebrate Easter across the world, some Nigerians have called on the federal government to seize the opportunity to improve the welfare of its citizens. A group of Nigerians who spoke with iBrandTV correspondent Wale Famisupe expressed their feelings as they celebrate Easter.
It's only that I went to church to praise God. That was my happiness. If it is to buy things, to cook, like I used to share food for people. I didn't even cook the one I eat by myself, talk less of to share.
If you look at this year, Easter is like kind of like nothing is happening.
Talking about Easter, Easter is too boring because last year we are okay. Last 2 years was very okay, but this year is too boring. No money. Transport is cost, fuel is cost, no lights. Imagine an Easter day, there's no light in our area where we stay at Olora, no lights. So, and the thing is pissing off. It's very pissed off.
As you can see, maybe I can say economy has met down. This Easter is not the normal Easter we used to.
Things are not.
Meanwhile, the federal government has pledged to ensure justice for victims of the recent attacks on 3 communities of Ishelu local government area of Ebonyi by unknown gunmen. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo made this pledge on Sunday in Abakaliki while addressing stakeholders of the state after inspecting the affected communities and the Effium Eza intra-communal crisis. Osinbajo, who commiserated with government and people of the state over the unfortunate incident, promised that the assailants will be arrested and duly prosecuted. He said, "I convey the condolences from the President Muhammadu Buhari as there is no justification whatsoever for the killing and destruction of properties. The killing must be condemned in its strongest terms, as the victims must have lived together for long with those who may have killed them," he said. He pledged that the government had beefed security in the affected areas and other parts of the state by deploying additional soldiers and police personnel to the area. Moving on, the former President Olusegun Obasanjo and popular Islamist scholar Sheikh Ahmed Gumi has met to discuss and propose possible solutions to security challenges in Nigeria. The meeting held at the residence of the former president in Abeokuta, the Oyo State capital, was part of the efforts to find solutions to the menace of banditry, kidnapping, and payment of ransom, among other security threats in the land. And after the exchange of pleasantries, Gunmen briefed Obasanjo on measures and steps he had taken to stem the tide of insecurity in many parts of the north. Moving on, gunmen on Monday attacked the Nigerian Correctional Services facilities in Imo State and felled unspecified number of prison inmates. The attack occurred in the early hours of today, after which the hoodlums set the facility ablaze. The gunmen also razed the Imo State Police Command headquarters situated in Owerri and burnt almost all vehicles parked at the command headquarters. They were said to have operated from 1 till 3 a.m., during which they sang solidarity songs at the government house roundabout for about 30 minutes before attacking the facilities. And when contacted, the police public relations officer in the state, Olado Ikoku, confirmed the attacks.
You are here to get information from us about what has just happened. I just want to put it across to you that there was an attack at the World Cultural Center very early this morning around 2:15 a.m. So you can see the extent of the damage so far. You can see our burnt vehicles and technically affected the building. However, I want to assure you people that at the appropriate time, when we get our facts together, we'll be able to address you on this issue. So please always keep in touch. We'll brief you at the appropriate time.
Please, we saw a dead body. We saw a dead body there. Please.
No, we are yet to confirm exactly what happened. But like I said, at the appropriate time, we must have gotten all the information free.
Despite video clips by a terror group, Boko Haram, claiming to have shot down the missing Nigerian Air Force Alpha jet, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, said Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies are vigorously looking for the crash site. The terror sect had claimed responsibility for the missing plane, but Air Force dismissed the claim as fake. And Amao said from the critical analysis of available intelligence, it was obvious that the air accident was caused by other factors soon to be unraveled. Efforts are still on in collaboration with the Army and other security agencies to find the crashed aircraft, as well as the two pilots, to bring the matter to a closure. The Chief of Air Staff, in a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Commander Edward GOVT, said the incident should not deter troops from the mission of ending insurgency in the northeast. And also, Governor Sheikh of Oyo State has expressed shock over the loss of goods worth millions of naira in the inferno that gulped Araromi markets in Ibadan. Several shops and properties were destroyed on April 3rd after a fire razed the largest auto parts market in Ibadan. Traders wailed as the fire, which started in the early hours of Saturday, raged for many hours. The governor, who inspected the market alongside top government functionaries, promised his administration will come to the aid of victims of the inferno by providing palliatives for them. And also, Governor Boyega Oyetola of Oyo State says available statistics points to the fact that many jobs have been lost, with many sources of livelihood significantly threatened as a result of the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. Oyetola stated this while flagging off the Ocean Food Support Scheme he initiated to mitigate the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on vulnerable citizens of the state. The governor noted the Ocean Food Support Scheme initiative is another way of keeping faith with government's promise to prioritize welfare and general well-being of the citizenry.
My friend and my brother,
it will be distributed and it will get to wrong hands.
Mr.
So
Boyega,
the key critical success is to get to the right hands. And
our
that's why
is here present.
A very strong monitoring team.
Imperial
I'm very
Majesty.
sure the governor has put together a very strong monitoring committee.
The House of Assembly make sure that we monitor the distribution to letter, especially those that are living in the rural area, so that people will not try to do something negative with it. And from the House of Assembly, we have remained resolute to give our total support to the governor of the state of Osun.
For a governor to think of supplying foodstuff afford to put 3 square meals on their tables. It is amazing.
We're targeting 30,000 poor and vulnerable citizens, including our youths, widows, the aged, and people living with disabilities across the state on a monthly basis.
Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State branch, has condemned the killings of Fulani Ardos and destruction of livestock of innocent members of Zango Katav local government area of Kaduna State. The group said the killings came on the heels of several peace efforts initiated by concerned stakeholders of Fulani, Hausa, and Ayatap ethnic groups in the community. Addressing the press conference in Kaduna, the Director of Media and Publicity of the Association, Ibrahim Bayero, said several attacks were launched on Fulani people and their livestock in recent weeks.
If you are just coming in, just come in.
Let us put our members in. My advice is on a very certain withdraws and cleared a large portion of land. This is that grazing reserve. About the issue of this Vice Admiral instruction by the former CNS, destructions of their properties. In the past few days, there have been series of deliberate targeted killings by the Atiap communities of Fulani people, including 2 Ardos, who were brutally killed in cold blood after embarking on a peace mission to Gora district of the Atiap chiefdom. Their killing was orchestrated in a systematic way that culminated into the brutal killing of the 2 Ardos and 1 other person started right at the camp of the Operation Safe Haven at Goragan, when some Atiap women erupted into protest attacking the Ardos and other 3 Fulani people that were with them. First, the officers of the Operation Safe Haven asked the Ardos to be driven by the secretary to the district head of Gora district, 1 Ayuba Bongon, without any security cover. Unfortunately, they were intercepted on the road along Sagwaza, and the 2 Ardos and 1 other person named Muhammad Yakubu got brutally killed. There were several attacks on Fulani people and their livestock in Zangon Kataf local government area and surrounding local government in the recent weeks. What concerns us is that this wanton killing that came up after series of negotiation and after long processes that we have been embarked with all the stakeholders. But to our greatest surprise is that, particularly the Atiap, that is the Kataf people, their leaders and their subjects, there is communication gap. That's what we observed. Because what the locals are saying there differ from what their leaders are telling us. So we are appealing to the leaders of this Atiap, that is Katap, as a community, to make sure that they go down and interact with their subjects to preach peace to them.
We'll take a short break now. We'll be back with more stories.
Fresh from the farm, it good for body. No chemical at all, this na real banga. No more wahala or pandy wash. Just put on for fire and your food is already. Everybody follow me, chop banga, hey banga, oh. Make you follow me, chop banga cook don't easy. Banga na palm fruit, where they come out. Put them inside can. You fit use banga cook any kind soup where you like. And other food them like rice, beans, and even yam. Now Pali Agro Product Limited then they manufacture them. For distribution, make you call 070-666-38213. banga. Come make your food yummy.
Hi everyone, my name is Sheikh Ebili. I'm here to introduce to you a very nutritious food produced and packaged by Pali Agro Products Limited. For this reason, the market has increased in stock. What are we talking about? True unripe plantain flour. It contains iron, fiber, vitamin B6, which helps your digestive system. Take a close look. True unripe plantain flour, because it is satisfying, unique, and good for the red blood cell. It reduces risk of diabetes and excellent for production. Hurry now while the stock lasts. True unripe plantain flour is available in all leading stores nationwide. Produced and packaged by Pali Agro Products Limited, Ashikpa Village in Oyo State. True unripe plantain flour, superfood for healthy living.
Now on the Africa scene, Niger's newly elected President Mohamed Bazoum has appointed former Minister Oumodu Muhammadu as Prime Minister to lead his government, according to a decree read on national television. Muhammadu until recently was the Chief of Staff at Bazoum's predecessor, President Mohamed Issoufou. Muhammadu, 69, first held a ministerial position in 1991 as Mines and Energy Minister. He was Niger's finance minister between 2011 and 2012 and was appointed chief of staff in 2015. Bazoum was sworn in on Friday in Niger's first democratic transition of power since independence in 1960 after he won a runoff presidential election in February. And also more than 100,000 doses of Russian Sputnik COVID-19 vaccine arrived at Tripoli's Mitiga airport on Sunday. Libya's Ministry of Health said it's the first shipment to reach the country. Around 1,000 new infections are announced daily by the National Center for Disease Control, posing a challenge to a health sector ravaged by years of conflict. Interim Prime Minister Abdul Hamid said in a tweet, and I quote, "It's the first drop of rain. Thank God we are able to supply the first batch of vaccine." End of quote. The rest of the shipments will arrive in succession. And now the foreign scene. Portugal on Monday reopened museums, cafes, terraces and secondary schools nearly 2 months after tightening COVID-19 curbs following a wave of cases early this year. There was an explosion of cases following Christmas and New Year festivities, which led to outstretched hospitals, and the government imposed a general lockdown in the middle of January and closed schools a week later. Monday's easing comes with some guidelines. Only 4 people will be able to sit together at a table in cafe terraces, while museums can change their opening hours. Group training sessions at gyms and sports venues remain banned. Meanwhile, floods and landslides triggered by tropical cyclone in Seroja, in cluster of islands in southeast Indonesia and East Timor, have killed at least 76 people and displaced thousands. Officials say there were 55 people dead and 40 missing in Indonesia's East Nusa Tenggara province after the cyclone brought a flash floods, landslides and strong winds amid heavy rain since weekend. More than 400 people were evacuated and thousands more impacted. In East Timor, which shared the Timor Island with Indonesia, 31 people were killed by landslides, flash floods and a fallen tree, mostly in the capital, Dili. And also demonstrators in Myanmar held protests demanding the restoration of Aung San Suu Kyi government on Monday and called for more coordinated nationwide dissent, defying the military moves to suppress attempts to rally opposition in its 2-month rule. 6 people were killed at the weekend, according to activists, as police and soldiers used force to break up demonstrations that some protesters are called a spring revolution. The campaign against the ousting of the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi had included street marches, a civil disobedience and campaign of strikes and quickie acts of rebellion organized on social media, which the junta has sought to control by shutting down wireless broadband and mobile data services. Up next is sports with Jidechi.
Welcome to the sports update. My name is Jidechi Chidiezie. World heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has, according to his promoter Eddie Hearn, began full training ahead of his all-British showdown with Tyson Fury. Hearn confirmed that Joshua's training camp for his fight with Fury is already in full swing. It has been revealed that the British heavyweights have signed a 2-fight deal, with the first expected to be held this summer, but the other, details such as venue, are still unknown given the constant changing situation due to the coronavirus pandemic. The highly anticipated bout will unify the heavyweight division, with Joshua holding the WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO titles, and Fury holding the WBC belt. And in other stories, Commonwealth wrestling champion Blessing Oborodudu, 68 kg, and Aminat Adeniyi, 62 kg, as well as youngster Adija Idris, 50 kg, all secured qualification to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics after impressive displays at the ongoing Africa-Oceania Olympic qualifiers in Hammamet, Tunisia. 10-time African champion Oborodudu made light work of Enas Ahmad of Egypt and Senegal's Anta Sambo, winning 13-2 and 10-0 via technical superiority respectively, before sealing a place at her third Olympics with a 4-0 pinfall against Tunisia's Khadija Jalisi. On her way to booking a place in Tokyo, Adeniyi, a 4-time African champion, recorded a 7-0 win against Amel Hamiche of Algeria and demolished Zineb Halsoun of Morocco 10-0 via technical superiority, and overpowered Cameroon's Beth Ngoli 3-0. Meanwhile, teenage sensation Idris shone like a million stars on her debut on the big stage, with lots of eye-catching displays to book a place at the Olympics at the first time of asking. The competition comes to an end on Sunday, with the men taking to the mats in the freestyle events. And that's all for now on News Now, on Sports Updates right here on News Now. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Jidechi. Now in business. The Bank of Japan began experiment on Monday to study the possibility of issuing its own digital currency, joining effort by other central banks that are aiming to match the innovation in the field achieved by the private sector. The first phase of experiments to be carried out until March 2022 will focus on testing the technical possibility of issuing, distributing and redeeming a central bank digital currency, CBDC, the Bank of Japan said in a statement. The Bank of Japan will thereafter move to the second phase of experiments that will scrutinize more detailed functions, such as whether to set limits on the amount of CBDC each entity can hold. And also, the upturn on the price of international oil benchmark Brent crude has pushed Nigeria's oil revenue above the estimate into 2021 budget. Brent, against which the country's crude oil is priced, has been trading more than $20 higher than the federal government benchmark for this year's budget in recent months. The budget, which was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari on December 31st, was based on an oil price benchmark of $40 per barrel and a production level of 1.86 million barrels per day. And according to the budget, 30% of projected revenues is to come from oil-related sources, while 70% is to be earned from non-oil sources. Still in business, the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation has said it paid 848 million naira as insurance claims to its insured farmers in 2020. It said this is in a statement titled NAIC pays 848 million naira as claims in 2020 on Sunday. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, NAIC, Mrs. Folashade Joseph, said this in 2019, and the corporation also paid 856 million naira to its insured farmers who suffered losses. In a statement that NAIC, since its establishment as an agricultural risk management agency of the federal government, has continued to deliver major on its mandate of providing support to farmers and comfort to financial institutions, which led to participants in the primary agricultural production sector. It urged agricultural investors and lending institutions to continue to partner with NAIC, which was committed to the full security agenda of the federal government and intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the South Korean electronics manufacturer LG is closing its loss-making mobile phone business. The board of directors approved the move on Monday, LG Electronics said in a statement released in Seoul. The shutdown of LG's mobile phone sector is expected to be completed by the end of July. An LG's strategic decision to exit the incredibly competitive mobile phone sector will enable the company to focus resources in growth areas such as electric vehicle components, connected devices, smart home robotics, and artificial intelligence. LG withdrawal from the smartphone business has been on the horizon for some time. And that's it for us on News Now. Please follow all our social media platforms for more updates. I am Margaret Opara.